What's up, YouTube? So this is a 2015 Porsche Macan Turbo. I decided to make a how to change your brake pads video because there are only a few of them out there, and after watching them I still had a bunch of questions. So hopefully this video answers all of your questions. So I'm going to go into how to take the caliper off, how to push back the piston, which means you need to release and unwind the electric parking brake, and then changing the pads and reassembly. So anyways, hang tight. So what you're gonna do first is basically disconnect the brake wear sensor and the electric parking brake plug, which is right here. And then you're gonna take out this bolt and that bolt, and what these two bolts hold is this floating caliper, and that's just gonna come right off. So let me get that done, and be right back. So one thing to note, I'm taking out these bolts here. You're gonna need to have a wrench to hold this from turning. This is very narrow, so what I did was, like a standard box wrench wouldn't fit, so what I did was I ground down one side of it. You can see it's a bit thinner now, and then it perfectly fits right here. So you hold that there, which is a 17, and then you turn this, which is a 13. So after you get these bolts out from here, I still got to remove this one. I take the hose right here, take it out of its bracket right here, just push up on it, and it'll just slide out like this. That'll give you more slack to once you take the caliper off, to kind of put it where you want it, and secure it so that it doesn't fall off. Another thing to note is I didn't know how to take these little guys out of the, so this is the brake pad sensor wire and the connector. How you take it out of the bracket is you kind of tilt it. See that tab right there? You got to get that tab out of there. So you tilt it and then you rotate it. Tilt it and then rotate it, and then it comes right out. So put that on the side. It also is held by the bleeder cover rubber grommet here. So you just pop that off, and then your sensor's free. So let me get this bolt. I'll just get this. Well, nope, I gotta hold it. Let me get this bolt out and be right back. All right, so the caliper's off, as you can see, the floating part of it. And then what you're left with is this, basically the pad holder. So next, what you're gonna do is, there are bolts back here. There's one, and the other one, I put some rags down so that I don't scratch up my caliper. And there's the other one. So this one and that one, you're gonna break those loose and take them out. This bolt up here is longer, and this bolt is shorter. So let me get that done, and I'll show you how that looks like. Alright, so those bolts back there are removed. There they are. Long one is the top one, short one is the one that goes to the bottom. And then you take this out, and basically that's your pad holders. So just slide the pads out, one, and then this one goes forward as well. And there's your pads. One thing I forgot to mention is, before you remove this guy, basically rip out the wear sensor out of here. It's worn anyways. If my guess is if you're changing the brakes, you got the light on, so the sensor's worn. Basically, it'll look like this, and that's why you're getting the light on, because it's worn through the wire. Let me show you how the new one looks like. Here's a new one. So next, you're going to transfer over these backing plates from the old pads to the new ones. Now I see what people mean when they try to film with one hand and do things with the other. Doesn't really work. All right. So plate, transfer over to the new one. Push it on. Done. Do the same thing with the other one, and then you're gonna slide back the pads just like you reverse order from taking them out. All right, so you're gonna end up with something like this. There's the old pads. There's the new pads already installed into the bracket with the transferred over backing plates. So now reverse order, put this back on, and put the long bolt to the top, short bolt to the bottom. Look up the torque spec and torque it down. Alright, the pad carrier is back on. These two bolts are back on and torqued. So next comes the fun part, and the part that everybody will tell you is impossible to do without a dealer and a tool. Let's get this old sensor out of here. So, like with every brake job, what you need to do next is push back the piston, right? Well, you can't because of the electric brake. So what the dealer does is hooks up a computer to the car, puts the emergency brake into service mode, which unwinds the whole mechanism, and then you're able to push back the piston. Since we don't have that luxury, what you're gonna do is take basically the actuator, the e-brake actuator off. So these are two torque bolts. One is right here and one is right here. Take those out and remove the actuator. Alright, so I took off the e-brake actuator. These two little bolts, they're T30s Torx. You can put this guy aside. So some people, what they do, if they don't have the proper computer to plug in and put this thing in service mode, is I found on video, Audi guys especially, will plug in 12 volts into these pins, figure out like where to put the plus so that the actuator unwinds this mechanism that's inside here that applies the e-brake. I don't want to mess with that. I don't want to burn it out, do something funny and funky, and this is much easier. So I have this M8 multi-star. I don't know what the proper name for this bit is, but I heard a T40 actually works as well. Put that in there and basically clockwise turn it until it stops. So you're actually disengaging and putting the e-brake into service mode right now, basically unwinding it all the way out. So keep doing that. You'll feel it stop. There, that's it. It stopped. Now, if you wouldn't have done that and you try to push in the piston, it wouldn't go in. But now that you did that, this piston will go in. The piston does not need to be turned. It just pushes straight in, just like any standard one. What I do, I bought special tools that you're supposed to use to kind of push this in, but because Porsche puts this backing plate on here, you can't use that proper tool. So what I do is clamp, big socket, put the socket right here so that you don't damage anything. Put the socket over that, Then put the clamp over this and over the piston and compress. So here's what that setup looks like. And then you just simply turn and the piston will go in. Bam, down all the way. Take this off. Piston in. So what I do next is I clean things off, apply some O-ring safe grease, and then we're going to put the actuator back on just like we took it off. So to put the caliper back on, these two bolts go back in, torque them down. Don't forget your sensor holder bracket, and then the sensor just kind of snaps into a groove inside the pad. So I'll show you on the old one. There's the groove, old sensor. It kind of does this. Hard to do with one hand, but anyways, it fits into that slot and snaps in. And then the way you plug it, you attach it back to the bracket is you tilt it, push it in, and then you're gonna turn it. I'm trying to catch a better angle here. You're gonna turn it until that little guy goes into the hole. Boom, right there. And now it's safe and secure. It won't go anywhere. Still moving because I haven't torqued these bolts down yet. So anyways, then torque the bolts down. Don't forget, I kind of tucked these the sensor wire and the e-brake wire behind here so they would be out of the way behind the strut. You can now take those out, plug in your e-brake and your sensor, and you're done.